Hello and welcome to the Dad Whisperer. I'm your host, Dr. Michelle Watson, and this is the place where I have the privilege week after week of helping dads become heroes, especially when it comes to the dad-daughter relationship. But as we all know, the skills that we use that navigate one relationship usually change us in the process, right? And then it translates to other relationships. So really, this is a conversation that supports relational health. That's really my heart. So for starters, you guys know by now that I say on your mark, get set, go. That's the grid that I use every week, where you as fathers picture yourself standing side by side, ready to run your fathering race. I'm your coach on the side. I've got a couple guest coaches today that you'll meet in a minute, where we are standing there saying, dads, come on, you can do it. On your mark is the topic. Get set. We're going to fill that in with stories and stats. And then go. We're going to end with giving you a practical go step this week to put your heart of love for your daughters and your sons into action. Well, today on the program, we are going to hear from a dad who happens to be one of my pastors, Pastor Keith Jenkins, also known as PK, and his 26-year-old daughter, Keisha Medina, who's married and a mom to her 5-month-old daughter, Alara, who is honestly the love of their lives. If you know PK or Pastor Keith, you have seen him on social media. It is all grandbaby all the time. So a quick backstory to when I first met him. I want to tell you this. I think you're going to appreciate his heart when you hear the story. And Keith, I don't know if you remember this, but a couple of years ago, you came to speak at Beaverton Foursquare one Sunday morning. You were living in LA at the time, pastoring a church. And after the service, we got to talking. And you were hearing about my heart for dads of daughters. And you shared that you're the same way. You love investing in fathers because you are a dad to one adult son, 2 adult daughters. And so we were getting to talking. And you told me that just that week, you'd encouraged a dad to write a love letter to his daughter and then report back to you. You remember that?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
And when you told him, okay, show me what you've written afterwards, you told me that it was what? It was like a college pep talk of a letter.
So cerebral, no heart, nothing from the heart at all.
Nothing from, and you were like, no, this isn't going to work, hon. So you ended up having to write the letter for him. And I share that story with all of you listening just to illustrate the fact that this is a man who's been mentoring men for over 20 years. He's served in the Marine Corps for 10 years, as well as being in roles as youth pastor, associate pastor, lead pastor, all the way from Eugene to LA, now in Portland. And you've served, Keith, as a mentor father figure for the University of Oregon basketball and football teams for a long time, 97 to 2009. You've been a missional director of the Greater Los Angeles District for Foursquare. And you've also been married to the love of your life, Coco, for 30 years. And you have a contagious passion for Christ. And then your daughter, Keisha, as I shared, she's married. She's mom to Alara. And she's worked for her dad, even on staff. We're going to hear maybe about that today. And they will both be sharing their stories with us. So welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hi there.
Welcome. So
hey, it's so good to see you. It's good to be here.
Well, it's great to have you.
To this.
Awesome. Yeah, we've been all waiting, preparing for this for a while. So I'm so glad you guys made time out of your busy schedules to be here. Well, on your mark today, the title is Staying Connected Through Thick and Thin, because you guys have been through it, yeah?
Yes, intensely.
Okay, there you
Absolutely.
go. Well, the get set part is I know we can all relate when people open their hearts and their stories. So let's get to it. Keith, let's start with you. How about we go way back? I'd love to just hear some of your backstory about you with your dad and growing up.
Yeah, my dad was a 2-tour Vietnam veteran. My mom got pregnant in 1966. With me, and my dad left to go do 2 tours, and he came back with PTSD. We didn't know, and struggled with some addiction as well. So I don't know that I was handed much from my father in that respect. More of an example of what not to do in that regard. There was some violence growing up, those type of things, and my mom and him got divorced when I was really young, so didn't get to see that. But the one husband model that I have is my great-great-grandfather. And he was the quintessential husband to my grandmother and also father figure to me, but he was my great-grandfather. So that's where a lot of my ideas have come from about how to go about fathering and loving my daughters as well.
Wow. I so appreciate you saying that, because that's very much the same story as my dad. It was his grandfather that was military, and then he went in the military.
Yeah.
But his dad, as an alcoholic, died as one, never really knew how to be a dad.
Right.
And so I think you're just living proof that you can move past the hand you were dealt?
Yeah, so for me, because when the kids started coming along, I did not want to repeat the patterns that I'd seen and experienced. And so, to be honest with you, I've read everything that I could read about fathering. I listened to tapes. I did everything I possibly could to try to figure it out. We have one boy and two girls, and so I didn't want to screw it up. It was the biggest role in my life. The biggest desire of my life was to be a good father, and so I hadn't been handed much. But I wanted to sort of break those chains and write a new story.
Amen. Preach it, brother.
Thank goodness.
Exactly. Daughter saying that. Well, your firstborn, Keith, is a son. Like you say, you have two daughters. What do you remember? Since Keisha's sitting here, what do you remember? Go all the way back in that video vault in your brain.
Tell me all the good stuff.
What was that like when you brought her home, got to look at her?
Obviously Keith Jr. was first. And so having a boy has a certain thing in your heart as a dad. And so he and I, experienced those moments. I was at all three of their births. I was fortunate enough as a man and a military guy to be present when all three of them were born. But I can remember distinctly when Keisha was born. First of all, I was nervous when we found out it was a girl because, I'm this guy, I'm a Marine, and what do I do with a girl? I knew what to do with Keith Jr. Kind of, sort of. So I had some ideas about what to do with a little boy, but what do you do with a little girl? And I remember because Coco had a C-section with Keith was born from before I got married, and Coco and I have Jocelyn and Keisha together. And I can remember, first of all, 18 hours worth of labor waiting for Coco, getting ice chips thrown at me from her. and then we go in and they have this big curtain or this big cloth up and they say it's a girl and they hand her to me. And it makes me emotional thinking about it. I didn't know it was going to happen, but the minute that I saw her, I say this, I fell in love with her. There's a love for her that I had in that moment that I can't really articulate.
We're all getting emotional here.
I know.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
It struck my heart in a unique way.
I love that. Isn't that cool to hear?
Yeah, and it's also nostalgic because now I know that feeling because I have my own daughter and I remember seeing her for the first time and it's instantaneous, the love that you have for your daughter. So I think now we're in a place where, I know some of the things he's gone through, just 5 months worth. I haven't gotten to all the crazy part yet. But
teenage years are coming. You'll know my pain. Don't worry.
Okay, well, great segue. Speaking of the teenage years, you're saying it's good now. It started really sweet, but there was a rough period in between that where it was a little bit harder. So, Keisha, I want to go to you. What do you remember? Let's go back to even those growing up years. What was it like with you and your dad?
The formative years, childhood years, I think it was more like cake. That was like the smooth part. I wanted to be like dad. So I was a tomboy. We ate meat together. We watched sports together. That was everything together. If he was doing yard work, I put on my overalls and I was doing yard work. It was everything together.
Yeah.
I think when you get past, when girls get past that age of adolescence and you're going into high school years, you start to become more feminine and you want to do your own thing. You're becoming a woman. That's where we started to segue and become more butt heads and rub each other the wrong way.
Combative.
Oh, combative. Well, I mean, it could be from anything from what I was wearing to the way my attitude was.
Be honest, the reason that we struggled in that way is because we're alike. She's strong-willed, determined, and I was trying to direct her life a certain way at that time, as dads tend to do. And you were trying to exert a little autonomy. And as they grow older, they're trying to get free a little bit. And I, to be honest with you wanted to be with your friends a lot more, and I was losing my little buddy.
Oh, we had some times with the whole separation of father and daughter. That was from marriage to boyfriends and all those kind of things. Yeah. I think that fathers and daughters really go through a separation, especially when you're as close as my dad and I were when I was younger. Yeah. When I got to the point to where, I have a job now and I want to have friends. And we noticed quite a shift in our relationship in those times because of the growing.
Michelle, nobody told me this was going to shift overnight like it did. Seriously, like it went overnight for me. Wow. It felt like overnight. I could go, it was remember it because I could go into the bathroom at any time and see you. And then all of a sudden, boom, I open the bathroom door and she's like covering herself. Dad, what are you doing? I'm like, what just happened?
I didn't get the memo.
Like, I'm embarrassed. I'm like, what did I do? Did I just violate my daughter? I ran down the hallway and told her mom, I'm like, what just happened? It's like I didn't have to knock yesterday. And our relationship, nobody told me that it was going to shift like it did.
Yeah.
She was moving into puberty. I was unprepared for it. I was no longer the lover. I was the love of her life, but she has some other loves now coming into her life. She felt like boys were hot all of a sudden.
And not
when
Dad.
they were yucky before. I'm like,
Not Dad.
Nobody prepared me for this.
Well, what do you wish you would have known then that you know now?
Well, one of the things that I instinctively knew is that there was a time as she was blossoming that she was still looking for my affection. She wanted it. She needed it, in fact. My appropriate touch, my appropriate affirmation of her as she was developing her sexuality and developing as a young woman, she still needed that. So there was a place. I just needed to transition to that place. I wish I would have known then that there was a rightful place. I was still involved, but I needed to make room for her development. And it wasn't so much about my relationship with her anymore. It should have been more about how do I now facilitate her to begin to have these other experiences and know that our relationship is still solid.
Yeah, she's not completely rejecting you. She's just flapping her wings and coming out of
But when you hold on, then it becomes an adversarial relationship. It becomes hurtful for Dad because I don't understand, because I'm trying to protect you and hold on to you. When in essence, I needed just like you said, to give her room to begin to flap her wings, but also come around her and be there to comfort, to support
when she falls.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. Giving space for them to grow. But I mean, if you think about it, how does a father really know when it's his first daughter, first time flying? So
where's that manual?
So I think I got it worse than what Jocelyn's going to get because I went through it first.
I'm an oldest, so I feel you.
Right. Yeah. So she should be good to go. I think I got him nice and practiced. He's ready to go. He's worked in. He's ready to go now.
Well, go back. I remember one of the things when you and I were talking beforehand is that you talked about what it felt like to disappoint your dad back in adolescence.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
That was more of my discipline than probably any kind of grounding, spanking, anything like that.
Yeah.
For me, it was disappointment because I am A-type. I want to please. I aim to please, and which can be a pro and con, by the way. But for me, it was just I never wanted to do anything that would disappoint my parents in thinking that, I was less than or anything like that. And I think it was really difficult growing up because you're always going to make mistakes.
Right.
So every time I made a mistake, I'm like, oh, I disappointed them and my life was over, But then, he always came in. I think that was one of the best things as far as our discipline, even though he wasn't a great disciplinarian because he was such a big mush ball. He tried to be all Marine Corps, tried to be Marine Corps hard. You're grounded. And then that night we're watching TV together, cuddled up on the couch,
Right.
So, but that beginning of that, trying to learn that it's okay to make a mistake. And they never made it to a point to where it was not okay to fall. We always had a soft place to fall, which is really important for children and for young people because a lot of times they feel like they can't make a mistake. And if they make a mistake, then, they can't do X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
To ever get back in Dad's grace or favor.
Exactly.
And I didn't experience good discipline as coming up from my father. I can remember it being out of frustration, anger, that type of thing. And so I was very reluctant, to be honest with you, to discipline them. I wasn't very physical with them.
We could feel that.
But one of the things that I think I learned often, that just because I was an older, wiser, supposedly the dad of the house, that I could still make mistakes in disciplining them and how I was raising them. And I can remember on more than one occasion being on one knee in front of one of their little faces saying, I'm sorry. That wasn't fair, Dad. I was frustrated. I was angry, and I shouldn't have spoken to you that way.
That was the one thing with him was anytime he made a mistake, it was almost instantaneous that there was him seeking forgiveness or telling us, Daddy made a mistake this time. I should not have talked to you like that. I shouldn't have done this. And so I think that made the relationship much more open to where we felt it was okay. Like I could make a mistake and I could ask for forgiveness. We learned what asking for forgiveness was and apologize. And that's how we learned it, was because it was modeled by our father.
Yeah, Dad isn't perfect, so we don't have to be perfect. Let's all admit that together.
Exactly.
But it was such a struggle because as a dad, am I ruining my kids? And especially with the history of not having a dad. And Am I going to be estranged from them at some point? Am I putting the right things in them? So it was sort of, I was honestly dependent on the Lord's relationship with me and looking at how he fathered me versus what I'm doing with them, and tried to use that as a good rule, because I didn't have anything to really measure by. I mean, I grew up in the Leave It to Beaver era, but I wasn't Leave It to Beaver. So I needed to figure out what was going to work in relationship with me. I had my own woundedness that I was still processing and getting through. And, my wife said to me, at one time early on, she said, your history doesn't have to define you. And that
That's
really
good.
helped liberate me in a sense, because I was always striving to be a good dad, under the shadow of I don't want to be like the dad that I had, that I experienced. And so the Lord really helped, to be honest with you.
Which was there getting down on one knee. That wasn't the
Absolutely.
model you had.
Right.
No.
Right.
Thinking back to high school, what was it like to have your dad? What impact did that have at you then? Even though you were bonking heads and he wasn't getting you a lot of the time, you were his first daughter. What impact did it actually have in the inside when your dad did that?
It's completely a different lifestyle than many of the girls at my school had. They don't have fathers at home. So I had a dad who every Valentine's Day brought me a gift to Valentine's Day and made it, like, didn't just leave it in the office. He came and found me at one of the social times. So I was always different, I guess, in a sense, than the other children there, because they didn't have daddies.
Wow.
So it was an extremely important role in the fact that he was always there just as the minimum. He's there, not the fact that he went above and beyond to do everything to show us what a man in our life should be.
Amen.
Yeah. So it's just having that in and of itself was completely different than everybody else.
PK, what's making you tear up about hearing that story?
In the moment, you're just trying to figure it out. You're just trying to get through the day, trying to make a living. Keep a roof over their head, and making mistakes. And so to hear her in retrospect, look back on those years the way that she was, I just knew that I didn't want my little girls to be in a situation where they ever doubted my love for them. Even though I was making mistakes as a dad, I never wanted them to ever think that they didn't have this guy in their life that was insanely crazy in love with them.
Wow.
And I used to embarrass them, pulling them up to school. They would get out of the car, and just as they're walking with all of the kids, I would be like, "Hey, your dad loves you. I love you. I love you." They'd be walking away. "Dad, stop."
Okay, there's a go step for dads. Just do it. Embarrass them.
Absolutely
embarrassing.
They'll remember it forever.
Yep.
Okay, well, let's transition to, you said that senior year of high school, you got a diagnosis that changed everything.
Yes, I was diagnosed with systemic lupus erythematosus when I was a senior in high school, which is lupus, formerly known as lupus. We believe I got it genetically from his aunt.
Okay.
My father's aunt, and she had a really rough go at it with it.
Passed away from it.
Yes.
Okay.
So obviously that triggered something in Dad, triggered something in me, because I had heard slight stories about it, but pretty much all I knew is this auntie died from what you have.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah.
So actually, he was with me when we got the diagnosis, and I believe it started to separate us. That was another portion in our relationship where we began to separate a little bit. I could see that he was scared.
Yeah.
I could see the fear.
But he wasn't talking about it?
He wasn't talking about it.
I didn't know how to talk about it.
There you go.
I was there. I didn't get a chance. The thing with that is I didn't get a chance to say goodbye to my aunt. She was the one that I was the closest to. She died in childbirth. So I had to literally, I'm having this whole issue with Keisha, who is my daughter. We have a special bond, a unique relationship, and now she's suffering. But then Coco, sort of came in, mom came in to really be what she needed, because there was a lot of times she needed to be examined and different things, and it wasn't appropriate for me to be there. And so I felt myself being moved further and further back, but I also pulled myself back.
Yeah.
Right.
I did. I didn't know how to articulate
I
what
had
was
to
feeling.
tell him, hey, I understand mom needs to be there in portions, but I need you to step up and be there, the strong part for me. I can't. It was really bad to the point to where, they were making life decisions for me while I was really sick. So we were in hospitals for months at a time, several severe cases. And I was like, Dad, Mom is the soft landing. You got to pull me up because I have to be able to move forward.
Yeah.
I have to pick up my bootstraps, and you're that guy. I need the military daddy to help me a little.
I mean, that helped me. That really helped me because I didn't know what to do because, look, I'm dad. So anything that goes bump in the night, I can usually make go away, right? So I'm going to defend the house. Lupus was an enemy that I had no ability to wrestle with. I had no ability to subdue. So
you're like, I can't conquer this one.
No,
Just
this is not the teddy bear at night, the shadow in the window. This is a real thing. This is life or death.
Yeah. I love that you told your dad what you needed.
Yeah.
Because you're saying mom and dad played different roles, but I couldn't just do this with mom.
Yeah. And I feel like girls, young women need to tell their father sometimes, hey, I need XYZ because honestly, let's be real. Men need a step-by-step,
I mean, that's the truth, though. Like, if you build me a map, show me a map to your heart, I'll follow it. I know what to do. Okay, pull you up. So this is what we need to do today to get through this day. What is our next goal? So we started setting goals about how to get through these moments.
And our mantra became, okay, Keisha, you need to figure out your new normal. Right. Because everything I had planned for my life before that, kind of Lupus took all that away.
Wow.
So dad was like, okay, new normal. What's Keisha's new normal? And so
what was one of the things you told him you needed?
Well, I told him I know he didn't really want to, but I needed him to sometimes be in those doctor's appointments. That was difficult for him.
Be present.
I needed him to be present in those places when we got bad diagnosis, when we got bad news, which was very often. Like if we went to the doctor's office, we were getting something bad.
Yeah.
How did you push past your fear, your history with your aunt to be there?
Two things. One, I never wanted to abandon my kids. So it felt like emotional abandonment in those moments to her. And as she called that out of me. And then secondly, honestly, I would just lean on the Lord and just in those appointments, just say, Lord, I need you to help me to be what she needs. Because I was literally scared and didn't know how to get through it.
Wow.
But
you guys,
we worshiped through it. We prayed through it. We cried through it.
And held on to each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
And laughed.
Absolutely.
And thank you for telling that story, because I think for dads listening that may be in a rough patch with their daughter due to a diagnosis or a family crisis or just personalities, that you guys are saying, you get close later. Just weather the storm. Don't give up. That's the Marine mentality. Just step up and do it.
Do what you got to do. Hold on to each other tightly and to get through it.
Yeah. And it gets better and grandbabies are coming.
Come on. Grandbabies make everything better.
So we have got a little surprise for you, PK, that you don't know about. Okay. Your daughter wants to read you something that she's prepared just from her heart to you.
You two are a mess.
I, for the most part, just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for doing what you needed to do as a father. Thank you for building me up when I was torn down, for helping me to find new dreams in myself because lupus stole a lot. So I wanted to thank you for everything that you ever brought to our lives, for being my first love, for always being the daddy that every girl was jealous of in my school, for making me feel like the most beautiful girl in the world, for teaching me and showing me what my husband should be, for helping me to pick my husband.
That's right.
And for being a great grandfather to your granddaughter.
Thanks.
And we love you.
Oh, what's that mean to your heart?
That's all I need. I don't have anything to build. It's not crowds for me as a pastor, building buildings, those type of things. I never wanted to win the world and fail at home. And so hearing her say that checks that box. So now I just have to hear Lara say it too.
Oh.
And go even farther.
So that's my next challenge is how to let Seth, her daddy, be the daddy, and I'll be the granddaddy and step back and support that. So now I have to go through another transition.
And I'm the first one to go through it.
Yay!
Again.
Wow. Well, if you're just listening in, you're hearing from Pastor Keith Jenkins and his daughter, Keisha Medina, today, where we're talking about how to survive and weather the storms. The title today, On Your Mark, Staying Connected Through Thick and Thin. Well, I want to end with one last go step. You heard me say, we always got to put this into practical application form where dads can really put their love into action. Keisha, let's start with you. If you could tell dads one thing of how to reach their daughters' hearts, what would you say?
I would say we as girls love to talk. Let them communicate to you. Make it a point to sit down with your daughters Ask them questions that require more than a yes or no answer. So it's a conversation. They want to talk. So if you stifle that, that shuts down your segue into their lives. Talk to them.
Talk to them. Excellent. How about you, Pastor Keith?
Find a thing, find a place. Find something you enjoy doing together and a place you enjoy doing it, and go do it. Keisha and I and Jocelyn have always had dates. We have different things. Each one of my daughters are completely different. And so Keisha and I have certain things we like to do, and do those things frequently. Go as much as you can. Do the thing at the place you love to do it.
And you initiate.
And I initiate
So
because
it
I'm the
comes
guy.
from Dad.
But that doesn't mean that she doesn't have responsibility. And she says to me often, hey, don't forget, just because I'm married doesn't mean I don't want to date.
That's right.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Rock on, you guys. Well, thank you so much for being here. And just know, as you're listening today, that you're being inspired by a dad and a daughter that have weathered the storms and come out the other side. So, dads, there's hope that it's going to get better if you hang in there. So you can always write me at drmichelle@thedadwhisperer.com. Tell me things you'd like me to cover. You can always go to my website at drmichellewatson.com, where I have free resources for you. You can sign up for my bi-monthly Dad-Daughter Friday blog. And if you've enjoyed this conversation, you can even go to iTunes under The Dad Whisperer. Well, thanks for joining us today. It's been a joy to have you here. Dads, get out there, put your heart of love for your daughters into action. Go, Dads.